I'm over here in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame studios, and Sports Shorts presented by L'Auberge Casino, where they were rocking and rolling, TK, this past Sunday for the Super Bowl. It was absolutely jam-packed. They had so much action at the sports book. It was insane. The second most action of any Pinnacle Casino sports book, Penn National Casino sports book in the country. Stadium Sports Bar, they had half price pitchers of beer. They had half price pizzas all day long and night long. I mean, it was a great scene to be at L'Auberge for the Super Bowl. And of course, don't forget March Madness coming up. You know, whenever you're trying to watch all those games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that first weekend, great spot to go over there, the stadium, to do that. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the LSU hoops. Tigers with one of the more impressive, dominant wins in a few weeks. Not the most impressive. Georgia's not a good basketball team, but still, they took care of business after a slow start for the first 10 minutes or so. They kicked it into gear and ran away and hid from Georgia to pick up a nice win at home to start, inching towards solidifying their spot in the NCAA tournament. Saints have some big news. Kind of expected, just like we expected Dennis Allen was going to get promoted from D.C. to head coach. Well, Pete Carmichael is also staying on with the New Orleans Saints, and we'll get TK's thoughts on that. Also, Cam Jordan was on ESPN this morning. He was outwardly lobbying for a quarterback, and I'll tell you some of his comments. They were funny. And LSU Baseball, right, starts this weekend. UL Baseball starts this weekend. All college baseball starts, but the Tigers name their first two starters. I'll tell you my thoughts and yours as well, Tommy, on their first two starters for Friday and Saturday. Mr. TBD is the starting pitcher at the moment for Sunday, but surprised there wasn't a name that we heard. We'll get into that. But first, Tommy, your thoughts last night on Will Wade's LSU Tiger team and their performance.
Well, Ronnie, they were 15.5-point favorites, and obviously they covered. They won by 19, and they were up more than 20 a couple of times. And then everybody was kind of waiting to see if Georgia would sneak back in like A&M did and Mississippi State did, but they did not. Georgia's not a good team. They're one of the weakest teams in the conference this year in basketball. So LSU should have won, should have covered, and they did. So that's a good thing. That's a positive thing for Will Wade and the team. They had a little fun. I watched a lot of it. Sharif O'Neal with a big dunk, and Pinson had some no-look passes that really looked good. If he can get healthy, that's big for the Tigers. And as Chance said, the Tigers last night played a suffocating defense. Again, Georgia's Georgia, okay? They're not going to win a lot of games, and they haven't won a lot of games. But LSU's defense, with the fact they shot it better, that was pretty good. So nice win for Will Wade's team. Got to keep going forward because getting hot going forward is the thing to do in college hoops.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know in any sport it's not necessarily the best team all year long that wins the championship. It's the team that plays the best at the end, and that's kind of where LSU basketball is right now. Is that, hey, look, they've had a stretch over the last 3 weeks where they have not played their best basketball. In fact, there was a moment where I wasn't sure they were going to, punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. It was trending in a bad direction. But, hopefully this is a sign of things that they've righted the ship a little bit. I know they've gone through a little easy stretch of games, but they definitely need to kick it in gear as the end of February is approaching, because that's when you want to be playing your best.
Yeah, no question about that. So it was a good win. They should have got the win, and they did. It's almost really, instead of losing, it's almost worse if if they had won that game at the buzzer or they won that game by 4 points, because they really should have separated like they did. So give them credit.
Chance saying if the refs allow them to play that aggressive, LSU is dangerous. And he's talking about defensively. We know that the strength of this team, which is unlike any other Will Wade team, is the defense when they're on. And if they're able to get up, on you and touch you and get chest to chest with you, they're going to be able to play. How about 26 turnovers? That's a gigantic number. Anything over 15 is good. Anything over 20 is really good. 26 is just next world level, and also a sign of how bad Georgia is.
Well, keep in mind, Georgia's not good. Let's keep that in perspective.
Give us some numbers on LSU. They had 1, 2, 3 players in double digits. Eason, again, Tommy, so productive. Coming off the bench, 21 points in just 23 minutes, better than 50% shooting from the field. He had 9 rebounds. I mean, this guy has just been, we knew he was going to be a good player coming out of Cincinnati. We knew we were getting a good player, but it's bizarre to me that they continue to have him come off the bench because he's been so productive in these 20, 25-minute spurts. But I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's correct. And maybe he's more comfortable doing it that way. And obviously, Will Wade and the staff are continuing to do that. But he's so athletic. He can run the floor. He's good on both ends. He's a key to this team having success.
Tigers shot 49% from the floor, 30% from three. Murray had 15. Days had 15. It was good to see Days, finally get it going. He shot 50% from the field, still only 1 of 7 from 3. That has been a trouble spot, but very productive, 15 points, 12 rebounds. You see Days with 15 points, 12 rebounds, you can put a W on the board for LSU. If he can kind of deliver those numbers, he's going to be outstanding. Eason, Chance saying Eason and Gaines coming off the bench bring instant energy. No question about that. That is for sure. If Gaines plays under control, he brings a lot of energy. If he cannot turn the basketball over with, that's the key for him. Just watch those turnover numbers and see how he does. Let's talk some New Orleans Saints for a minute, Tommy. Big news came out. We knew that, Pete Carmichael retained as offensive coordinator for the Saints. This is a guy who's been with the franchise in quarterback coach role, offensive coordinator role for 15 years. Your thought on him kind of calling the plays moving forward?
Again, this is a continuity thing. The organization is not in bad shape, as we have talked about. That 9 NFL jobs open, and the Saints are the best team that had the opening of the 9. So, you keep Allen, you keep Pete Carmichael, who's been around and worked side by side with Sean Payton for so many years. That it's a really good thing. And again, this team, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You just use that line. And then, as you said, before we started rolling tape, Cam Jordan was on the national show this morning, and he talked about, hey, we got a good thing. We went 9-8. We played our first game on the home game was on the road in Jacksonville, and we had to move because of the hurricane. I mean, they had a lot of things going on. Jameis Winston got hurt. I mean, Michael Thomas didn't play. So if you put some of those pieces of the puzzle back together, the Saints, got a shot to win the NFC South next year.
Talking about Cam Jordan, he was on Get Up on ESPN with Stephen A. and did an interview this morning, and he talked about how all the things you mentioned, all the things they had to overcome this year with COVID on the coaching staff for a few weeks, and then being away from home for 30 days, and the quarterback injuries and all that kind of stuff, kicking injuries, and he said we still came out on the other side with a 9 record. He said he expects, he goes, hey, Jameis Winston was our quarterback all year long. We think things. He says if Jameis comes back healthy and he's our quarterback all year long, we expect to be in the Super Bowl next year. He said, but if for whatever reason he's not or not retained, doesn't come back, he said, I'm openly out there recruiting and scouting, lobbying for quarterbacks. He said, hey, Aaron Rodgers, hey, Russell Wilson, he said, I saw where Kyler Murray erased all his social media posts about the Cardinals. He said, I know, he said, I'm hearing Lamar Jackson hasn't signed his contract over in Baltimore. He's like, so we got a great culture down here, a veteran locker room, and we're ready to, win a Super Bowl. So I love that Cam Jordan now with Kamara being on the shelf for, who knows the amount of time that Kamara is going to be on the shelf with a suspension, with the NFL next year, and with everything that happened to him off the side, Cam Jordan is the face of the franchise. Cam Jordan is the leader. He is the verbal. He is the star of that franchise at the moment.
I agree with that completely, especially with all the other things that you just mentioned. So the Saints aren't in real bad shape. They need to do a few things. It'll be interesting offseason. The draft, which starts April 28th, will be interesting as well. So we'll just let it all play out and see what happens.
Pete, as far as Pete Carmichael is concerned, this to me, the Pete Carmichael conversation, Tommy, is one similar to in 2019 when LSU won the national championship with Joe Burrow at quarterback. You weren't sure, hey, who's really calling the plays? Is it Steve Ensminger? Is it Brady, who came from the Saints and then left to go to the Carolina Panthers? Who I think Brady now is with the Jets or the Giants, one of those teams I believe he hooked up with on the staff now, but. I wonder. I wonder. We just don't know. I mean, we can have Coach O as he did step to the podium and give us hints, and then we heard something about Ensminger called first and second down, and Brady called third down. I mean, who knows? Who knows really what was going on? The same can be said about Pete Carmichael. How much influence on the game plan did he have? Did he actually really call any plays over the last 15 years? Or did Sean Payton always call the play? So that I don't know. But I will say this, even if Sean Payton called all the plays, there's no doubt that Pete Carmichael was intimately involved in the game plan. He was obviously listening to every conversation that's going on between he and Drew Brees for the last, 15 years. So I'm hoping that through that, even if Sean Payton called the plays, he still picked up and has some of that, talent that Sean had.
Yeah, well, no doubt he was listening into everything and he heard it all. But you're going to have different personnel out there, and that has a lot to do with play calling, with who you got out there. So, Carmichael's been around. They know him. He knows them. If they bring some free agents in or they trade for somebody, it's the NFL. You'll have to figure out a way to make it happen. And the NFC South is there for the taking, even though there's rumors that Brady might come back, I don't believe that. But, never say never. But, the Saints are in best shape today in the NFC South. Now, that could change, obviously.
Chance saying Jimmy G would be a good fit with the how good the defense is. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you can get any of the quarterbacks I mentioned earlier, you would take them over Jimmy G. But clearly, that's an option. I agree with that. And then he also said Carmichael definitely called plays in 2012, and that's correct because that was the year that Sean Payton was suspended. So Pete Carmichael was the offensive coordinator. But I'll say this: 10 years ago, a young Pete Carmichael. How much influence did he really have calling those plays over Drew Brees? I'd be willing to bet that Drew Brees called those plays in 2012 a lot more than Pete Carmichael.
You almost can't look at last year, much less 2012, because every year is so different now in the NFL with the roster turnover, not just of yourself, but of the opponent. I mean, different teams on the schedule. Both the Rams and the Bengals, who just met in the Super Bowl, both play in the Superdome next year. So, you're going to have it's a different thing every year. But I think Carmichael's got the experience, and obviously Dennis Allen thinks he's capable of doing this. So you got to defer to Coach Allen.
Yesterday at the celebration in Los Angeles, I mean, didn't it seem to you like Aaron Donald all but said, I'm going to be back next year for the Rams? I know there's some talk of him retiring, but he basically told, hey, let's run this thing back next year. I mean, he was a first-round pick out of the University of Pittsburgh in 2014. This guy's not that old, and he's obviously very healthy. So don't you think that he kind of basically let the world know that he was going to be back?
Yeah, I think he did. Rodney Harrison floated that out there. He probably shouldn't have done that unless Donald would have asked him to do it. So, yeah, he and Sean McVay, who has also mentioned the retirement word, both. If you listened yesterday, and I got to say something about that parade yesterday. Did you see, like Monday, LeBron James says we should have one parade for the Rams, the Dodgers, and the Lakers because we're the city of champions. Well, LeBron, you won it 2 years ago. You're an attention whore. Get out of the way and let the Rams have their highlights and be in the spotlight because they just won the Super Bowl. You didn't win it last year. Milwaukee did, LeBron. And Ronnie, one of the greatest basketball players ever and one of the most disliked players ever, LeBron James, trying to steal some thunder and inject himself into the story. He got torched on social media for it. He just doesn't think. He's not a smart person. I had to get that in there.
All right, so let's
also on the celebration. Andrew Whitworth had a huge part of it too. Yeah. The big Whit, as they call him, and And he hasn't said he's going to retire yet, but I'm thinking he might. But you don't know. He might look around and say, hey, let's go run it back, as they said.
I can't imagine him coming back. When he had that knee injury last year and the fight through it to get back healthy. And, at his age, that guy's got to be hurting every single day playing football. But, I would expect that he's going to retire. And, we were talking about Andrew Whitworth yesterday. I was up at Squire Creek Golf Course up around Ruston and Shoudrant, right by Ruston. And, of course, Kyle Williams, his good buddy, is going into Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame this summer. And we're doing a golf tournament April 4th and 5th up in North Louisiana there. And we were talking about can maybe Whit come or something like that. We know he's got a home in Colorado. I know they said he's trying to sell that. And I said, well, where's he going to retire to? Will he stay here or stay there? And they said, no, we expect he's going to retire and live in California. So I'm sure he'll have a home or people in North Louisiana, but he's going to retire and live in California. And everybody there who knows him a lot better than I do that was at our meeting, these are people that he's been friends with for years and years and years. They expect that he's going to retire and he's going to live in California. And, why not? You're a Super Bowl champion. You played for the Rams. The guy's going to do a lot of TV or whatever he wants over in that area. But let's talk a little LSU baseball, Tommy. I know you're excited. College baseball starts this weekend all over the country. Obviously, in the state of Louisiana, the two major programs, LSU and UL Lafayette, are getting after it this weekend. Raging Cajuns take on UC Irvine, really nice series. They come to town. LSU takes on Maine. Maine's not as good as they used to be. Back in the 80s and 90s, they had pretty good programs in regionals a lot and went to the College World Series a few times. But the main thing is not the opponent for LSU. It is taking a look at a Jay Johnson team, and then also the pitching staff. And your reaction to finding out that LSU is going to go with Blake Money on Friday?
Well, it's going to be a fun weekend across the state. I can't wait to read all the scores and see how all the teams do. Blake Money will start Friday. Mikhail Hilliard on Saturday. They don't know yet who's going to go Sunday, and I know we had a viewer that asked that question, and that's typical for this time of year. You don't know how many pitchers you're going to have to use Friday, Saturday. I'm sure he has an idea who's going to go. Back to Blake Money. Let me tell everybody this. I saw him and talked to him last Saturday night. He has lost a lot of weight from last year, a whole lot of weight, because everybody had a little video of him when he was named starter yesterday with the old school uniform with the L on the chest. He's lost at least 30 or 40 pounds from that video, and I posted that. And, this guy, he's 6'7", big right-hander. And if Jay Johnson and Jason Kelly, the pitching coach, say he's the guy to go Friday night, then I'm looking forward to seeing it. I plan on being in the box Friday night for the game.
The Blake Money story, Tommy, is really incredible. If you think back to, last year he showed signs. This guy's 6'5", 6'6", throws in the low 90s with some good pitches. But as the season went on, he really didn't, he fell off for LSU baseball last year to the point where when he got to the postseason, he didn't even make the travel roster. And so he went from that to all of a sudden recommitting himself physically with a new coaching staff. There was even some talk in the offseason he might possibly transfer. But he recommitted himself, and here he is back bigger and stronger. And, in theory, when they give you the ball on Friday night, they're saying they think you're the best at the moment, best starting option at the moment. So, will he hold on to that spot? Only time will tell. But the bottom line is he went from a guy who was, left out of the picture to a certain extent to now he's the man. And so that says a lot about what he's done over the last 8 months. And then also Mikhail Hilliard. Mikhail Hilliard's going to get the start on Saturday, Tommy. And as much as we'd like to think that LSU has all these big studs that throw 96 miles an hour and all that, there's Mikhail Hilliard in there, 86 to 88 with a little cutter, a little curveball, and he's going to get the ball on Saturday.
Yeah, he really is. And typically with him, it's all or nothing. If he's got command of the breaking ball, then he's going to be very effective. And he's a battler. He competes hard. You like that. And look, Ronnie, I was around, Jay Johnson and Jason Kelly last weekend, talked briefly to them, a little bit more to Kelly. And without saying anything, you could almost sense a quiet confidence when I asked them about the pitching. And they both know I used to pitch, so they know I'm going to ask about that. there's a quiet confidence that I think they know a whole lot more than they're going to say or will ever say. But the proof will be in the pudding under the lights tomorrow night and then Saturday, Sunday afternoon games. And I think they're going to hit the ball. They got 3 guys on the Golden Spikes Finalist Award. No team's ever had 3 guys on that preseason list. So that speaks to the offense. And the question has been, what will they get out of the pitching staff? Well, and look, this first weekend's only going to be a small snapshot. Don't overreact. Don't read too much into it. Even if they go out and blow people away and put goose eggs on the board, it's going to be a work in progress leading up to conference play.
Sunday, to be determined, was, and that's not uncommon, that a college team is going to not have a starter for Sunday. Most of the time they don't, quite honestly, in this day and age. Usually they give you 2 starters and Sunday is to be determined. But I'm surprised that after all the talk of Devin Fontenot, that, from the time that he committed to come back this year, Devin Fontenot said he wanted to be a starting pitcher. They worked him out as a starting pitcher all year long. This was a crown jewel of the returning pitchers, right? A guy who could have possibly gone pro, and he didn't. And here we are after all this time, and Devin Fontenot is not named a starter this weekend. To me, that's very telling that the experiment's not working out right now.
Yeah, that could well be. And, also Will Helmer started the Friday night scrimmage last week, so I thought we would hear about him Friday or Saturday. But I would say this. I'll bet Jason Kelly and Jay Johnson have a plan. Right now, if you held them down, they know who they would like to start Sunday. They just don't want to say it yet because if it's Fontenot or Helmers and they got to come in to help get some outs Friday or Saturday, then maybe you turn to somebody else. I mean, I wouldn't read between the lines here that it's TBD for Sunday. I'm quite sure the coaching staff has a plan.
By the way, just as we look ahead, LSU plays at Louisiana Tech next Wednesday.
No, it's in Baton Rouge.
No, it's in Ruston.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, because I'm actually going to be there honoring Kyle Williams and Teddy Allen.
Okay, my fault.
But that's going to be a bigger, tougher outing than Maine on Sunday. So it may be that potentially LSU's trying to figure out who they want to hold for Wednesday's start, because that's a Louisiana Tech team that's got everybody back except one starter on offense. I mean, they're going to be loaded. They were a super regional team last year. They're going to be loaded. Or were they? Did they? I know they hosted a regional. No, they didn't win their regional. That's right. They hosted a regional, but they didn't win their regional. But they're very, very good this year.
Beautiful new ballpark up there too. I remember seeing it on TV.
Yeah.
I've not been there.
It's not real big though. Like it only seats 2,000. They've got a berm on the side that does 500, and they got another area. So they really can kind of put in about 3,000 people. I know it's completely sold out, jam packed. I was talking to some people yesterday when I was up there that when they put out the release a week or so ago about the game and everything, everybody's calling out of the woodwork wanting tickets, and they were like. They were saying internally, and I was talking to some of the head boosters for Louisiana Tech. They were saying this may be like one of the first games Louisiana Tech's ever had in any sport where there just actually is not a ticket. Like it's not I'm holding some for some. Like there's just not another ticket or another place we can put people. It's expected to be that packed. So that atmosphere against that team, which is a regional team, a host regional team, in fact. That would be a heck of a test for whoever gets the ball, whether it be Helmers or Fontenot or someone else.
I agree completely with you. I mean, we talk a lot about the Raging Cajuns, and rightfully so. But the Louisiana Tech, the Bulldogs, have really climbed that ladder in college baseball. And one of their assistants is now at Nichols. We'll see what he does down there. Jason Smith and Matt Reiser and Hammond and. Tulane, UNO, Southern. I mean, there's going to be a lot of good baseball. Justin Hill with McNeese. But Tuesday night's going to be a big game and a big test for both teams early. It could be an RPI thing as the season goes on if both teams continue to have big success. The winner, that'll be a little straw and, feather in the cap.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this weekend. Obviously, it's going to be a jam-packed ballpark on Friday night. I'll be popping into both that, and I'm going to be over at gymnastics. Gymnastics has a big meet Friday night in the PMAC. I'll be there honoring Susan Jackson, who's going into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame in June. We're going to be honoring Susan Jackson along with Dee Dee Bro and whatnot at some point during the meet. So excited to go. To see her. We honored Brittany Sneed, former LSU great pitcher 20 years ago. We honored her the other day at Northwestern State when Baylor, as she's an assistant at Baylor, they were playing the Demons, and she was emotional about it. And so really looking forward to our 2022 Hall of Fame class. We'll have a lot more for you as that induction gets closer at the end of June, and opportunities for you guys to be a part of it if you'd like. We've got lots of events. And of course, if you're a golfer, April 4th and 5th doesn't get any better than Squire Creek, the #1 golf course in the state of Louisiana, on Tuesday, April 5th. That's Masters Week. So when they're practicing on Tuesday, you can be playing at Squire Creek, alongside David Toms and Kyle Williams and all these other greats. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll have a party that Monday night for the Final Four. We're going to have our pairings party and our viewing party and all that at Bally's Casino in Shreveport. It's going to be a blast. So anyway, we'll tell you more about that as we get a little bit closer. But as far as the Raging Cajuns are concerned, Tommy, Matt Deggs and his group at home against UC Riverside or Irvine?
Irvine. And I don't know anything about Irvine, but I know, the Raging Cajuns have changed out a few guys. Matt Deggs.
You should know about UC Irvine because
why?
Buzzy Heidel, the last home run at the box came.
Well, okay, that was like when 8-track tapes were popular too, So I mean, yeah, the Buzz. Somebody brought that up to me the other day. I saw something on Twitter about that, but yeah, so maybe Buzz could go over to Lafayette, take a swing in BP, and see if he can hit it out of Russo Field, whatever they call that over there, Teague Field. Park Russo Field, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. So but look, I'm looking for. I can't wait to do some scoreboard watching this weekend for all the teams in Louisiana. Irvine, I know nothing about them other than Buzzy knows them, and hopefully the Raging Cajuns can get some work done.
Speaking of the Buzz, you'll be happy to know this, Tommy, that the Buzz is back this Saturday. College baseball season is here. By the way, ML Teague Moore Field at Russo Park is the home field, a beautiful park. They were ranked, Raging Cajuns ranked in the top 10 in attendance each of the last 4 years in the country. But the Buzz is back for college baseball season, and we'll be at the Bruley Walk-Ons, literally about 10 Buzzy Heidel long toss throws from his house. We'll be there on Saturday from 10 to noon. So we're excited to have him back, and he'll give his take on college baseball, LSU, and everything, because he'll be doing some of the games on the radio with Chris Blair and Doug Thompson and those guys over the coming weeks. All right, we'll be back, tomorrow, Tommy, huh? TK, you got the mute back.
Yeah, we're good. We're going to be back tomorrow at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood for Friday morning. I have a lot of LSU baseball stuff for you with that and a whole lot more. And then, of course, we're at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. They're changing a few things on the menu. They got a new chef hired. It's steak night tonight here, the steak, the baked potato, the whole bit. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week. Court Street Cafe, 805 Court Street in Port Allen. Connect with them on Facebook and Instagram and find out about the lunch specials, the dinner specials, and lots of good things happening here at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. We want you to check it out.
All right, TK, we'll be back tomorrow. Until then, everybody have a good one. Well, thanks for watching Sports Shorts Daily. Please like and share this video. We'd appreciate it very much. And Sports Shorts presented by LeBaron.